Hello and welcome back to another Corn-Fed Sports Big Red Boss of the Week. In this week's segment, we're turning our attention to Nebraska wrestling after the Huskers posted a perfect 3-0 record at the Stanford Duels this past weekend, with Tim Lambert coming in as this week's Big Red Boss after a perfect weekend at 125 pounds. Lambert started the weekend with a decision in Nebraska's 36-6 win over Utah Valley before the number 15 Lambert knocked off number 11 Evan Silver of Stanford as part of a 28-12 victory over the Cardinal. In his final match of the weekend, Lambert earned bonus points with a major decision in a shutout of Cal State Bakersfield, capping off a big weekend for the Husker freshman. With his win, Lambert moved to number 10 in this week's ranking, and we had a chance to catch up with Nebraska's 125-pounder to talk about what this weekend means for him moving forward. Hello and welcome back to another Corn-Fed Sports Big Red Boss of the Week. In this week's segment, we're honoring Nebraska senior Pat Smith, who in addition to blasting the game-winning 42-yard field goal, had a big day in Happy Valley to help the Huskers to victory. On top of his overtime winner, Smith hit the game-tying field goal and another 39-yard field goal in the game, coming up clutch even with snow falling. We caught up with Smith after his epic winner and asked this week's Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week about what it meant to have a moment like this during his only season in Lincoln.
So we got Madeline Gotschall today joining me. It's one of the new faces you'll see here on Corn-Fed Sports. It's not just going to be the same couple of people you've grown used to. So it's not that it's bad, but it's just nice to get some new blood. So you ready to give this pregame show a try?
I think I'm ready.
All right, well, we're going to jump in. We just got some headlines to kind of get caught up on the Nebraska women's soccer team and how the last month and how the last couple weeks is shaken out. So why don't you get us started off here with the obvious big news for the team?
Right, well, obviously the biggest news is that we have some new Big Ten champs. So last week they beat Indiana 3-1 last Friday. And so going from there, then, they ended their regular season play on a pretty great high note. But the question probably on people's mind is how did they exactly get to this point? And I think across this whole season we saw them play close and play well, whether they're on the road or here in the capital city.
Yeah. We have some interviews. We were able to talk to a couple Husker soccer players this week. So why don't you get us set up here for our first clip of our Say What segment.
Right, so first we caught up with senior Jordan Jackson talking about her chemistry with freshman J.C. Johnson, and both of them made all-conference teams this year. Right, it's pretty easy to forget how young J.C. Johnson is when you see how fast she is on the field. We caught up with her to talk about her speed to fluster defenders. There's obviously a lot of respect between J.C. and Jordan as teammates, but J.C. says her looking up to Jordan is almost like a sisterly bond.